All right, we are recording. Welcome to Skyway Bound Presents. It's been a while. I missed you guys. So I want to say hello. We invite all of you first before we continue to move on. We invite all of you to stay up to date with our latest content by subscribing to our YouTube channel and, of course, our Facebook page, because your feedback is important. So we encourage you, please leave comments below. And if you're watching on YouTube, tap the bell and you can stay up to date with the latest and greatest. I'm your host, Walter Matthews, and hey, let's get started. So today, Skyway Bound presents Lamercie Health Care. We present the founder, Natasha, is it Delintz or Delancey?
Delintz.
Delintz, very cool. Well, you had the Lamercie, so I thought maybe there's a little bit of French
Right.
going on with your last name. That would have been pretty cool. So yeah, like we talked about before we started, let's just go right into it. And how did your idea for this business come into fruition? And is it for-profit or nonprofit?
Currently, my business is for-profit. And the way this all started was I was in the military for about 8 years, and my mother got sick. And that eventually led me to getting out of the military so that I could take care of her. And that was my first time being exposed to nursing homes and hospitals and, having to deal with end-of-life care. So after my mother passed away, I realized that there were other options that we had instead of her having to end up in a nursing home. There's what you refer to as small residential assisted living facilities, where they're just regular houses licensed by the state of Florida and equipped to take care of those people who are further in their age and who have certain comorbidities and illnesses and are able to still live out in the community instead of ending up in a nursing home. So that idea stemmed way back when in 2007 when my mom passed away. But at that time, I didn't have the means, I didn't have the education, I didn't have the resources to really start wanting to go into this venture.
Oh, wow. That's a very, very powerful story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And for me personally, I'm getting older. My mom has already passed away, but my dad's still around, and it's definitely a concern on my mind is how do we take care of him when he gets to that point. And
Right.
it's definitely something I haven't personally researched, but it's something I need to me and my siblings really need to start thinking about. And I imagine a lot of people don't. What are your thoughts on that?
Right. And that's part of my platform as well, or it will be once we get started, is educating the community on the resources that are out there. A lot of us have aging parents that we care for. A lot of elderly have a spouse that their health is declining and deteriorating. And unfortunately, it's not till a catastrophic event happens where somebody has a fall and they break a hip, or someone has a stroke, that, that's when the decisions are being made. And that's not necessarily the right time. The conversation needs to be had prior to that. It's, again, the platform is to educate people, whether it be via social media or having seminars or being guest speakers. But that's definitely one of the things that I want my organization to do, is definitely to educate the community and let them know that there are options out there, not just a nursing home, and not waiting until it's too late.
Got you. So I know you said you're a for-profit.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, how are you guys going to make money? Because you guys aren't primarily education. You are actually going to take care of people.
Correct. So I'm opening up a small residential home, and I'm starting off with 5 beds. And in the state of Florida, it's referred to as an adult family care home. Once you get licensed for 6 and above, that's when it becomes an actual assisted living facility, according to the regulations in Florida. And basically, the reimbursement is through private pay. My home can also, there's Medicaid managed care that I can contract with that will also be able to help pay for, the cost of care. But again, those are the avenues. Long-term care insurance are, those organizations are really beginning to recognize home and community-based services as an alternative to larger big box assisted living facilities and nursing homes. So there are ways that facilities such as mine can be reimbursed. Private pay, managed care, long-term care insurance. Also, I plan, since I am a veteran, to contract with the VA with their home and community-based program. And they also have programs to assist veterans with, again, staying out in the community.
Oh, wow. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. What are some of the challenges you faced along the way in this journey?
Well, definitely the challenge is the resources, funds, finding the property. I've been fortunate and blessed this year that I was able to find a property that I really fell in love with, that I felt would meet my needs and the needs of my residents. Also in terms of funding, just like any entrepreneur, applied for loans, got denied, applied for loans, got denied, but eventually was able to successfully secure a small business loan for my business. And the other thing for me is I have to be licensed in order to operate, which means being licensed by the state. And in order to get there, there's certain steps. And one of them was having to go through and get zoning to be allowed to identify this property as being able to become an adult family care home, and also having to submit my plans to the fire marshal and building of the county, where they review the property to make sure that it's up to compliance and up to code and things like that. And that process in itself took almost 4 months.
Oh, wow.
4 months. I actually had to get my plans redrafted. I had to hire an architect, thank goodness for Veterans Florida and Action Zone through Rosie and Valerie. I was able to find an architectural company to help me redo my plans. And once I submitted those plans, then, it had all the information they needed and I got it approved. And I picked that up, the permit for that, about 2 weeks ago. So now I'm in the process of getting the home ready for inspection. So, I'm redoing some painting. I purchased some furniture I got to put together, just managing the layout of everything. I have to purchase the fire extinguishers, just basically getting the property code compliant and also compliant for licensure. So when the state comes out, I'll have everything.
And every time they come out to do the inspections for those licenses, it sounds like somebody's getting paid and it's not you.
No. Although I do have to pay my licensing fees and permit fees,
exactly.
And all those other fees, application fees and everything else. So, and for me, again, starting off, becoming an entrepreneur, having to make sure that I manage all my receipts, managing, what kind of accounting system I'm going to use. It's overwhelming, but it's exciting at the same time. And exhausting, but exciting at the same time. So.
Well, that's a good segue into what advice do you have for people that are looking to get into the world of entrepreneurship?
I feel that if someone has a business idea and it's something that they feel that it's really their calling, it's something that maybe an industry, maybe they don't know a lot about it yet, but they become a subject matter expert in it. I say, don't let the idea go. Again, my mother passed away in 2007. It's now 2019. And this is when I am really taking off with my business. In the midst of that, I've worked in the healthcare industry. I've learned the rules and the regulations. I've learned about inspections. So I think right now I'm ready to go ahead and venture out on my own. And it just hold on to that idea. It may not be a right time in the beginning. And in all actuality, what I tell people, is there really ever a right time? Is there really? Sometimes you just have to grab the bull by the horn and just take off with it. Am I afraid of failure? Definitely. But I think we all are. And I think at some point in the steps that you take, that it's expected. But if you have that idea, don't let go of it.
Right. And the beauty of, It sounds like you're trying to encourage people to have a little healthy dose of fear. Just
Yes.
don't be paralyzed by it. And, there was on YouTube, I'm not sure what year it came out, but that famous guy, I think it was Family Feud, Steve Harvey. I think it was Steve Harvey. He really came out with a great clip that was talking about what his process of what he went through to get to where he's at, and how he just had to make a decision to jump. He
Right.
had to jump, and he was encouraging people
Right.
to jump. And when it comes to the world of entrepreneurship, I have jumped, and it is scary,
Yes.
but I'm not going to let that fear paralyze me.
Right.
So
And
we got,
sometimes that fear, oh, I'm sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
I was going to say sometimes that fear will make you pivot too. You might have had an idea, but realized that wasn't necessarily the best one for you. But in the process of trying to materialize that idea, you find that there's another niche or another possibility that you've found. So fear is not necessarily a bad thing.
Very cool. And so along that note, do you have any pivots that you can share with our audience?
Yes, actually, I do. Um, Prior to me starting my adult family care home, where my heart and my passion really is adult daycare. And adult daycare is pretty much um, the same concept as having a child daycare center, where, for those families who have to work or who just need some type of respite, some time off during the day, can drop off their loved one into the day program where they have activities, socialization, all kinds of things. And then, they get to still be home at night and on the weekends. So because that was such a grandiose idea for a solo entrepreneur, I figured, what is the best way where I can get there, where I can build my business brand, where I can, generate some revenue, show that I can manage a business successfully. And the only way that I found that I can do that was to take care of people in my home. So eventually that is the goal, to own an adult daycare center and, a chain of daycare centers. But right now I had to start small, still doing what I love, still taking care of the elderly and disabled, still doing what I love.
Nice.
But, the idea is, adult day centers.
So I really like how you talked about that. And I try to encourage people to you can have a layered approach.
Mm-hmm.
I think people forget with a lot of these big companies, they didn't all start off with what they are today. For example, everybody likes to talk about Amazon. Amazon started off as a bookstore. Now they do everything.
Right. Right.
People forget Starbucks. Starbucks was a very small coffee shop somewhere up
Right.
in Washington before it became what it is today. And just like you're trying to do, you're starting with that little seed, starting small and seeing where it goes. But yes, I agree. Pivots are part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So many times people want to see a straight A to B line to success, but I ain't found it.
Me either. And when
And
you do,
legally, I
please
ain't
let me
found
know.
it.
And if you do find it, please let me know.
Will do. So we got a little bit more time.
Okay.
What do you have any other cool stories or lessons learned that you've learned along the way? Maybe some specifics to the industry that you're in that you were really surprised at how difficult it was to to get your foot
Right.
in the door
Right.
and get something accomplished.
After my mother passed away, like I said, I left the military to take care of her, and I didn't have a plan. I did not have a plan. It was very quickly, once my mother became diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, that, I had to submit my paperwork. I left the military. I was here. And after she passed away, I became a certified nursing assistant.
Wow.
And I went back to school and I got my master's in health administration, and I became licensed as a nursing home administrator. And for me, because of the experience that I had with my mother, she was terminally ill. She was bedbound at the end. She wasn't very responsive. I was that family member. And so I wanted to make a difference on the flip side and become a licensed nursing home administrator. And what I learned was that nursing homes, they're a business at the end of the day. They are a business. And there are a lot of nursing homes out there that do a tremendous job at taking care of their residents. And there are some that don't. You hear the stories in the media every day. So it's not anything, anything that I'm sharing that people can't look up online. And what I found was that the best interests weren't necessarily in the long-term care side. A lot of nursing homes do a lot of rehab, where they're skilled, and the reimbursement is through Medicare, where Medicare pays a higher reimbursement rate than Medicaid. And so, as a business, it was more towards, how can we get some of those skilled residents, get more of those skilled residents in the home and stuff. So what I thought going into the industry wasn't what it was. And so for me, continuing on the path of me wanting to make a difference, I want to become my own entrepreneur. And I want to be able to provide a place and a resource where families more towards the end of life and the later stages have an opportunity to know that nursing homes aren't all it. There are options out there. So I think for me, that was like an eye opener for me.
Wow.
So.
Wow. So the process you're talking about, going back to school, how long was that? How many years?
Let's see. I got my bachelor's in 2008. I got my master's in 2009, and I just finished my doctorate and graduated this year. I graduated with my doctorate in business administration, and that took a very long time. I let a lot of things get in my way. I let a lot of things that weren't supposed to get in my way. And then working full time, it was, but it's over. I'm glad I did it. And I would encourage anybody, if they have the strive to keep going, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I say that because I was a young single mother. I was a high school dropout. I joined the military. I gained some excellent life skills. I made some awesome lifetime friends. Just that, those life lessons. And if I can do it, anyone can.
I love it. I love the reality, what you're sharing. And it's very important for people to see that,
right.
Not everybody comes from a wealthy family. You don't have to. You can still make things happen, and that's the beauty of this country. We live in the wealthiest country in the world, and I can't think of any country where you have the opportunities, even if things aren't fair, things aren't perfect. But you're a shining example of somebody you're going to make this happen. It's already happening. So a wonderful story, and we're so thankful that you took your time out to share with us today. And we're that's good. We're pretty good. We made pretty good time there. And just so our audience knows, this isn't the first you'll see of Natasha. Our goal is to follow these businesses, these startups, kind of through their life. So we definitely look forward to getting an update from you in the near future.
Definitely.
In the meanwhile, I almost forgot. Thanks for reminding me. How can people stay in touch with you?
Oh, well, we do have a website. It's called lamerciehealthcare.com. We're also on Facebook at Lamercie HC, and it's also the same tag on Twitter, Lamercie HC.
Very cool. And we have like about 30 seconds. How in the world did you come up with the name Lamercie? I know Mercy's in there, but.
Right. Well, Lamercie is my mother's name. So
got you.
And what I say is she gave me birth when she birthed me. And in her death, she gave me birth again because she gave me another purpose. So, and thank you for having me, Walter.
Absolutely. Stay tight. I can't, that's definitely a great note to end on. Very poignant. And let's end there. So for our audience, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. We encourage you to stay up to date with our latest content please subscribe to our channel there on YouTube. Connect with us on Facebook at Skyway Bound Presents. And we want to hear from you. So leave comments and some encouragement for our guests. And hit the likes, tap the bell, and that'll keep you up to date. So additionally, we want to know if you have a friend or know somebody that's a social entrepreneur, whether it be for-profit or nonprofit, please contact us. We would love to share their story with our community. So finally, this program was brought to you. We do have a sponsor, and our sponsor, I am happy to say, they're online. They are selling Mind My PC. It's an outsourcing solution for solopreneurs and small businesses who need but can't afford on-site technical services. They provide 24 hours, 7 days a week availability, which gives you, the business owner, peace of mind so you can focus on what you do best. That's your business. So thanks again for listening. Until next time, don't stop pursuing your dreams, because yes, as you just heard from our guest, and you're going to hear from the rest of our guests, the road is long. It is hard. Do not quit. Do not quit. Do not quit, because the sky's the limit. I believe in you. You can do it.